I say, pull over on the side of the road, put your light in park, take out that road now, see where you are, see where you want to be and what road in between, and ask your soul to take you there so you may live your dream. Some roads are dark and dusty and some roads are clean and straight. Filled with love and some roads are filled with hate. Some roads are just plain crooked and some roads are just not so. But it doesn't matter what road, your soul knows where to go. And I say, pull over on the side of the road, put your light in your heart, take out that road and see where you are, see where you want to be, what road, and ask your soul to take you there so you may live. Well, you have this lifetime to find out who you are, who you were meant to be, right from the start. Your life has a road mapping to follow it. And what's to give you will receive and what you haven't got. I say, pull over on the side of the road, put your life in park. Take out that road, my friend, see where you are, see where you want to be and what road. And ask your soul to take you there so you may live your life. Last verse. So why not use this lifetime to serve your fellow man? Why not reach out with a helping hand? Reach out and up and toward the sky for the strength you need. Your soul keep on trying, even if first you don't succeed. I said, pull over on the side of the road and put your light in one. Sing it with me, you know it. Take out that road, my friend, see where you are, see where you want to be and what roads are in between. And ask your soul to take you there so you may live your dream.
Thank you, Bo. Hi, everybody. I am Reverend Roxanne Graves, and I'm the Associate Minister here at Christ Church Unity. And I am so excited that you guys have decided to come out tonight and join us for Unity Cafe. Yay! We have a really exciting night tonight. It's Bo's first time here, so we're excited to welcome him.
First time performing here, that's it.
Yes, not at the church, but it's his first time performing here at Unity Cafe. And it is Harold Correa's first time speaking here as well. Of course, we all know Harold and love him dearly, but it's his first time officially speaking. So we are very, very blessed this evening. Let's take a moment and open in prayer. Oh, deep breath. Dear God, we thank you. We thank you for this opportunity to come together, to share and to love and to grow together. May we recognize in every moment the beauty and the blessedness that we are and that we have. Amen. Amen. All right, let's take a moment, get our snacks, get our coffee, and find somebody that you don't know very well. Get to know them a little bit better. When it's time to come back, I'll ring the bell and bring you back and we'll get started. Thank you. Well, I think we'll just go right into the main show. Kelsey, bring up Harold.
Turn myself on.
Yeah, he's the sound guy as well, so we multitask around here at the cafe.
It's funny, they did a song about rainbow. Slightly different, but growing up I was a fan of the heavy metal band Blackmore's Rainbow. Interesting. Well, thank you all for coming. I am very, very grateful. More?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hello. Is this thing on?
You're number 2.
Okay, much better. Yeah, this one. All right, sorry about that.
There you go.
You would think I'd know this by now. Being a sound guy and all that. So anyway, now I'm thinking I'm too loud.
No, you're correct.
Perfect.
Now I know how it feels to be up here. I'm going to say about 45 years ago, my dad took a leap of faith and left our home country of Colombia because he wanted to look for something better economically. And he used to be a bus driver over there. Now in Colombia, the public bus system is really privately owned, and he had his own bus that he drove. And he thought he wanted to build, I guess, his fleet, and he thought, let me go get some money so I can buy a second bus and maybe go on. And sure enough, he moved to New York and never came back. He actually, a year after, he asked my mom to move up with him, and as far as I'm concerned, it took a lot of strength and courage for her to move up with him, being that he'd always been abusive, not just with her, but with us. But it just took, strength for her to leave the comfort of what she knew also, and being with her parents that we were living with at the time. And of course, she had to leave behind her 3 beautiful children that she had, of course. But she did it anyway. While being here, they had to think of how to get legal papers, which at the time, if you had a child, then you can apply for residency, which they did, and my youngest sister was born. We didn't actually get to meet her till she was 3 years old, because it took about 5 years for them, from the time my dad left anyway, to go back to Colombia and to basically get the paperwork finished, get us, and then move back with me and my 2 sisters, so 4 siblings altogether. It was funny because when they got to Colombia, of course, my little sister at the time, only 3 years old, and she, even though my parents spoke to her in Spanish, she was accustomed to the English, and she would ask for Coke, and people would give her coffee. They didn't understand what she was trying to say. Nevertheless, we eventually came here. As a matter of fact, today is 40 years and 2 weeks to be exact. I remember well because my birthday was about a week after we arrived. So, being here though, back with our parents, especially because of my dad, was not a cakewalk. At that time, you could say those first years in New York, I felt powerless. And to me, it was so bad that a few years when we went back to Colombia to visit, I planned in my mind how the day before we were supposed to come back, I was going to escape from the house and I was going to go stay with a friend that I knew nobody in my family knew about. And I seriously considered, but I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad to be here for that. Having said that, growing up though, I started coming into my own, I guess it comes with age and all that. And one of the catalysts that helped me get out of the thinking that I had to be miserable and sour, which was what I was getting from my dear dad there. One of my uncles came from Colombia because he wanted to move to New York also, and while he got himself situated, he actually stayed with us for a few months. And even though I knew him, actually living with him, I realized, oh, what a difference. My uncle was funny, cheerful, he loved to dance, he loved to joke around, he loved music. He would say yes to almost anything that anybody asked him. What do you want to do? Oh yeah, let's do it. And I saw the difference. Oh, I don't have to be like this. I can be this way. And that's when I started noticing that I can make a choice to be more like what I would like to be. During those years, I went off to school and I wasn't doing too well, and I thought, well, let me do something I like. And I went into music. I actually started taking music, and during that time, I started with guitar, but because a good friend of mine was already a good guitar player, he's like, why don't you pick up the bass and we'll form a band? And so that's what I did. And while I was studying music, I was in a couple of different bands, just enjoying myself. And I thought, that was to be my passion. But as it turned out, I always had that, I guess, that negative thought in the back of my mind. Even though I was getting compliments about my playing and everything like that, I always thought I was not good enough, and that I was never going to be good enough. So I'm like, well, if this music thing doesn't work out, I found out about audio recording engineering, so I'm like, let me take that. And while I was playing and doing other things, I was actually studying for that too. I actually got my my diploma from that. And in the middle of all that, I still didn't feel right. And I actually, for a brief moment with the band that I was with before I came here, they were talking about moving to California because of the music scene at the time and all that. But I thought this wasn't for me, and then that's when I found out that my parents were thinking about moving to Orlando. And since my mom was coming first, and my dad was going to stay and take care of some business there, they asked me if I would come with her, keep her company, and see if I liked it, if I wanted to stay. I came here, a couple of weeks, saw the pretty girls, I'm like, okay, I'm coming home. So, and the funny thing is, I subconsciously, I knew, I think from the first day I arrived in New York, that I wanted to leave New York. And thinking back, I had some wonderful moments there too. I don't knock it, not at all. But little did I know that being here in Orlando, a few years later, I would meet my wife, end up with two beautiful girls. Now I'm going to give you the choice. I can move on. I can tell you about how my girls helped me to get into my spiritual self. Or do you want me to tell you how I met my wife?
Oh, wife.
Tell us how you met
Come on
her.
in, come on in. Welcome, welcome. There's two of my beautiful nieces right there.
Oh, wait, here's a seat right here.
Here's a seat. Here's a seat back here.
You stand up. So anyway, after having my heart broken by my ex-girlfriend at the time, I actually did make a conscious choice that I was going to forget about it and not let it affect me. And it took me a while, but I was able to just, I promised myself I wasn't going to try to contact her or anything like that, and it took a lot of strength for me to do that. But I did it, and lo and behold, it took about 3 months, and I just remember thinking, oh, I'm not even thinking about her anymore. And I feel good in my skin now. And that actually led for me to, one night, I was with nothing to do. I thought, I haven't been out dancing. I like dancing salsa, which I picked up from my uncle. And I'm like, it's Wednesday night, they have Latin night at this place near, one of the places on I Drive. I'm like, let me go. And I did something I would never do before, which was to go completely alone to a club. I would always have to have a friend or somebody like that. This time, I wasn't thinking about anything. I just want to have fun. I just want to dance. I wasn't thinking about anything. And lo and behold, I'm there, and I danced with a couple of other girls there. And I just happened to notice my wife walking by. and I decided to ask her to dance. And sure enough, I asked her to dance, and she never let go. It's a good thing I was thinking about getting into a long-term relationship. Sure enough, a couple years later, we have our first girl, and then soon after the second one. And having, of course, those two girls, I knew my life had changed. And something inside told me I needed to get serious about my spiritual work. And thanks to that, I started actually thinking about when they get a little older, I like to have them experience some kind of spiritual home, if you will. Even though I never really had that, but the little I encounter in my Catholic upbringing, I like some of it, and I'm very grateful for it. But coming here to Unity, it was when I realized that I had found my passion. And coming to Unity led me to finding also A Course in Miracles, which some of you know that I practice also. And through learning from the classes, the Unity principles, doing the lessons for A Course in Miracles, which of course consists of a lot of praying and meditation, I started feeling a yearning for more. And I think I didn't want to listen to it, which was letting me to want to possibly do ministry in the future, but I kept pushing it back. Yeah, that can't be for me, I can't do that, I can't do that. I actually have another choice for you. I can move on to my next step, or the one I was thinking in between. Do you want to know how I found Unity to begin with?
Yes.
Yeah, right. I like this group, says yes to everything.
Like your uncle.
Very nice, very nice. Well, as a matter of fact, I had things to me have happened in this way, where I have a thought and then things happen, and it's interesting when you're not so concerned about it, things tend to happen for you. But when I started thinking about I'd like to find a spiritual place so I can also take my children. One of my sisters came one day and she's like, I found the most amazing church. At the service on Sunday, the minister was talking about the power of now from Eckhart Tolle. And when I heard that, I was like, what? I never knew about these kind of churches. I mean, what kind of church does that? I got to see this for myself. And sure enough, we came the very next Sunday, and that was 11 years ago. And it took me this long to get here. I'm a slow learner, but little, slowly but surely. Doing all this, all the spiritual work that I've done, all the emotional work, all the physical work, has led me to shed a lot of my old baggage. And I'm very grateful for that. Now, to come to this place, of course, it took many choices, one choice at a time, to get to where I am right now. And that's kind of like the way Unity came about, how A Course in Miracles came about. For Unity, of course, the co-founders, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, when they decided to go see Dr. E.B. Weeks speak, who was a student of Emma Curtis Hopkins, who many consider the founder of the New Thought movement. And Myrtle, heard that night, a phrase that got to her and that she practiced, and it was, I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. Having heard that, she had an ailment that she had, I believe, most of her life, and she started working on that. And through all the prayers alongside of that, she actually healed herself. And her husband, seeing this, he was more of an intellectual, but when he saw what happened, he decided to look into it himself, and that's when he started researching anything and everything about New Thought, and he specifically focused it on the teachings of Jesus, of course. They went on, they started with a magazine called Modern Thought, and from that also, through her prayers, we eventually got Silent Unity, where people would call in and they would pray for them. There were many instances where people were being healed. And of course, from that, we got into the Unity School of Christianity, and now we got the unity that we have and we love, and it's just about all over the world now. And similar, we had with Course in Miracles, a couple of psychologists that worked at Columbia University, Dr. Helen Schuckman and Dr. Bill Thetford. They were working together, but they could never get along. And they got so fed up with it that Bill told Helen, there's got to be a better way. And to his astonishment, she actually says, yes, and I'll help you find it. And lo and behold, she actually, throughout her years, had some instances where she had visions. And this time she started having visions where she heard that Jesus was talking to her and told her, this is a Course in Miracles, please take notes. And Bill actually started helping her with that. And 7 years or so of working on it, they actually came up with a Course in Miracles, and now it's been written in 20-something languages now, and it's all over the world also. You could say that Helen had a choice whether to listen to that voice or not. I'm surely glad that she did. You know, of course, we might also think that she had no choice. I mean, when it's for you, it's for you.
Hello.
I lost it, didn't I? I was like, what's going on here? I get that funky sound over there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that. It would happen so a sound that to be having problems with it. Let's try this one again. Hello, hello. Is this thing on?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Speaking of choices, I have learned that the best choice to make, of course, is to listen to your inner voice. And I found through everything that I've done that the best way to listen and to learn to listen to your inner voice is to go into the silence. I'm about to ring. Sorry.
It's all right. It's okay, you're all right.
According to the Bible, the Lord spoke to Elijah in the still small voice. And specifically in the verse in the Bible from 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 12. And it says, and after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. Not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in the silence. Now you may be asking yourselves, but when I make a choice, how do I know if I'm making the right choice? Well, thank you for asking. I would say, go to your feelings. And I would ask, does it feel peaceful? And I say the more you practice that, the more you learn to hear well. Now, you may make some wrong choices, or so you think anyway. And you might ask also, if I make a wrong choice, what should I do then? Well, thank you for asking again. A Course in Miracles will tell us that you can choose again, and then you can choose again, and then you can choose again. When I made the choice to get serious about my spiritual work, I found my passion. And now I am beginning to live my passion and my purpose in life here, which is to be your light. Your light. Your light. Blessings. And I guess if there's any questions, comments, or concerns now?
I love that idea that you can make a choice, but then you can make another choice, and then you can make another choice. And I think that that's an important concept to really understand, to really embody and know. Because I think if I can know that, then I understand that I never make a wrong choice. I only make the choice of the moment, and then I make the next choice, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank you for that reminder.
Thank you.
The part that you said that God, or the voice, God is not in the earthquake or the fire, but in the stillness.
Right.
So how would someone in the middle of chaos, in the middle of needing to make a choice, in the middle of just the angst of everything, how long do you wait? Or what would your instruction be to someone who's in the middle of that chaos to get to that point?
I'll tell you, when saying that, you just reminded me of my younger daughter when she was probably 4 or 5. She had learned to read already. And by this time, of course, all the cousins, now there are like 7 of them. And they're all a year apart, I kid you not. They're like, they just, my mom said, when are you going to give me more kids? Because we had my sister had her kid already, and she was already like 10 years old, and there were no other kids. It's like, when are you going to give me more kids? And then they all like, brrr. And it's like 1 year apart. But anyway, they were all the kids we had gotten together, and they were all playing, and it's all mayhem. And then I just happened to look, and in the center of this is my younger one. And she's just oblivious to all the chaos. And she's just sitting there with a little book.
Yeah.
I'm like, and when I saw it, it's like, this girl is special. I'm not saying that just because she's a kid. I would have said that about any kid. But I would say, in the middle of any chaos, we can just take a moment to step back and just take a deep breath and just let it be. Because the chaos is not really out there. If we have peace in here, then we can come from our peace and help the peace to move out from us. That would be my answer.
Thank you.
Messages for me are meant to transform. When they come out of the mouth of the speaker and touch people's hearts, there needs to be a difference. What will transform me tonight from hearing you, first of all, is your sincerity. You live what you spoke. You not only shared what happened to you, it comes through. Tomorrow, if I see you, that same mentality, that same idea of the choice will be there, and will be there in the future. And I don't know that I speak for others, but I think I do. That's what came through to me in what you said. Anytime a choice will be made now, somewhere along the way, in addition to the still small voice of the divine that might well up, I'm going to hear your words. I'm going to see you standing there. And I'm going to hear you talk with the sincerity that you brought tonight. And that's going to make a difference. It'll be a message for me that lives on. It really will. So you heard what you were supposed to say, and you passed it on. And I'm very grateful to be here tonight. Thank you.
I wanted to thank you for the gift of how do we test? You know, we can ask these questions from our mind all the time about, was that the correct decision? Is that the way to go? But then to go into the feelings. Wow. What a powerful gift that you gave me tonight. Thank you for that.
Yeah. We got a couple in the back.
Well, I was going to say that, you know, it really struck me tonight that how you said that, I mean, I know that, I've been doing the Course of Miracles for a long time, but to be reminded that we're always free to choose again. There's so many times I felt stuck, and I think the worst curse is to be perfectionistic, to be stuck in like, well, if it didn't work out right the first time, then, you know, and it can't be perfect now, and I can never make it up, so forget it, I'm just not going to try it. You know, I think that's what a lot of people do.
Right.
They get stuck for years and decades, so thank you for reminding me that I'll keep
Hi, Harold. I just want to say from the very first conversation I had with you, which hasn't been very long ago, I appreciate the peace that you bring to the table, the sincerity that you bring to the table, and I just want to say it's an honor to travel this journey with you through ministerial school, so thank you for who you are.
Yay!
I resonated very much with what you said about when you were told about unity.
Right.
And you weren't quite sure that it could be true. Well, I was raised a guilt-ridden Roman Catholic and was abused by a priest when I was just shy of 16, which turned out to be quite a blessing.
Right.
But I left with a lot of resentment, and then I was introduced to the concepts of religious science, which is sort of a first cousin to unity, and I went, and I liked it. But the quandary that I had about guidance was, this can't be church. I know what church is, and this ain't it.
Right.
You know, and I think, you know, for me the guidance was to stick with it, and not stick with the, you know, with the answer that I knew was true.
Right.
And be open to a different answer. Thank you for taking me back there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Roy?
Hey, Harold, yes, I just want to thank you too, and I can resonate with what Jerry said about your authenticity. Watching your journey over the last 10 or 12 years has been spectacular. To see you at the culmination of it, you are a minister. And I'm very proud of you.
I just want to say that you didn't tell us the story. Do you mind if I share a story that you told me?
Sure.
The stories you told me. Yeah, I know, right? Nothing like putting him on the spot. But when he was
Do I have a choice now?
yes, you do. You always do. You always do. But when he was telling me about making the choice, you know, to make the choice to go into ministerial school, to make the choice to become a minister, it isn't, you know, really, it's not really a choice.
Yeah.
You know, the choice is, you know, how scraped up you're going to get by the time you finally,
Say yes.
by the time you finally stand up and walk forward. But he was telling me about when he was little and he was with, I believe it was your cousin, cutting the banana off and using the banana as the wafers for the communion. Will you tell the story?
Sure.
Yeah.
I got a couple of, I guess, serendipities about this. When I first made the actual commitment and I voiced it, that I was going to be a ministerial student, and well, that I was going to follow into the ministry, First of all, I went into my first class, the first SEE in the field that we had here at Christ Church Unity. And I walked to my very first class for the week, Monday morning, and Susan was teaching the 12 powers. And when she asked us to introduce ourselves, and I said, and I decided to become a minister, she said that she had seen it in me the moment I walked in, which I thought it was amazing.
It was like, tell me something I don't know.
So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And soon after that, that summer we go to Colombia to visit. Now I hadn't been there in 17 years. Of course, my girls had never been there. And we go there, we go to Cali, where I'm from, the city. And since most of my relatives lived there from my mom's side, we just decided to have a big party, have everybody come over one night. And it was a nice little gathering there. I just remember being on this side, talking to the people that were near me. And I just happened to glance as I was talking. And like from here to even further than Roy is, I saw my cousin just get up, picked up her chair, and she started walking. I'm like, okay. And she put it right in front of me. And she said, I just need to tell you something, that every time I think of you or anything with you, I have this memory of us when we were kids. And I'm like, oh, what's she going to say? So she said that when we were about 9, 10 years old, that I would have her and my 2 sisters put on bed sheets over their head, and then I would tell them that they were the nuns, and that I was going to be the priest. And I would actually take a banana and I would slice it into the wafers, and I would give it to them as a communion. And she actually told me that I used to voice it. I used to say that I wanted to be a priest when I grew up. And having said that, my uncle, who was right next to me, hearing this, he's like, "Oh, that never happened, did it?" And when he said that, I'm like, "Well, now that you say that, let me tell you what's going on with me." And so I told him what I had just decided to do, which was to follow in the Unity ministry. So that's my story with that.
Thank you.
Yes, Lois.
I just wanted to say that in case you didn't know, Harold is my co-facilitator in Course in Miracles. And I have seen the way he has come through really a leadership position in Course in Miracles. And I can't wait till he comes to class so I can give it to him.
Thank you, Lois. Thank you. I guess if there's no other questions, thank you all.
Thank you, Harold.
Now we are going to have Deanne is going to lead us in a meditation.
All right.
So if everyone will get comfortable in their chair. The ushers will grab the lights for us.
Question before we start. The ability to choose, decide, and determine comes from which of the 12 powers? The will. The will. Unity teaches that that ability comes from the center of the brain, okay, which is the pleasure reward center, okay? Our goal is to be aligned with spirit so that we receive spirit's guidance and then execute spirit's authority in the earth, okay? And it is pleasurable and delightful, and it is our reward when we are in alignment, correct? Okay. So what I would like you guys to do before we get into the meditation, I want you to spend some time just thinking about something that's been maybe on your mind, kind of heavy, that you know that you kind of need to do, okay? something that you feel unction, led, whatever word you want to choose to use to describe that knowing, that sensing that this is something that needs to happen that you may feel a little apprehensive about, or just outright afraid to do, okay? I want you to close your eyes and I want you to hold that in mind. And as that thing comes up to your mind, you know full well what it is. We all do, because we all have at least one thing. I want you to hold it, knowing that you're not alone. Hold it, knowing that we are together and we belong, and we have belonging in spirit. Hold it, knowing that help is always available when we step out and do the next right thing regarding that thing. So we come gathered together with our collective consciousness around these things, these tasks, these knowings, these leadings and guidings. And we hold them in our heart and in our mind, knowing that these things are ours to do. Spirit, we invite you in to speak to that part of ourselves that needs to be motivated and ignited to address that thing, knowing that we're not alone. So together, let's breathe in, hold it, exhale. Inhale slowly, hold it, exhale. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, hold, exhale. 2 more times. We receive wisdom, we receive insight. We surrender to the greater reality that this blessing, this thing that we need to accomplish, has blessing on the other side of doing it. We're grateful for the Christ within each one of us that can respond to the things that we are called to do. We thank you for the help to accomplish this task. We thank you for the will, the capacity to choose to do it with Spirit's help and guidance. We acknowledge and affirm that it is a delight to do the will of God, and we say that we have the power to execute that task with ease, even though it may be, to some degree, fearful. We thank you for the courage that Spirit brings when we rest in our Christ consciousness. We open ourselves to light. We open ourselves to love. We embrace this thing because we know that it will not only be a blessing to us, but it will be a blessing through us. We honor the presence of Christ in each one in this building, and we thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, for the wonder of being able to receive and to give out according to your divine will and purpose. And so it is.
Folks, I used an old guitar with old worn out strings to prove a point. You get old and decrepit and it still makes some pretty music. I guess I'm still up, right, to do something. You know, this struck me, this thing about choices. So I'm going to give you all a choice. I can play a song, I can do spoken word. Would you like yours to spoken word?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to stand on stage. I don't need a microphone for this. I don't believe you hear me in the back?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The recording I do, do you need the mic?
No.
Okay. Real quick, the story is about, I saw a poster. They call them memes nowadays. Back when I did it with posters. Anyway, I had this poster. It was nothing but a photograph of a beautiful flower growing out of a crack in concrete. The title of the poster was "Beautiful Things Are Seldom Easy." I couldn't sleep that night. That poster had such an effect on me. So I woke up in the middle of the night, and I began to write. And I told a story of how that flower came to be. And so I called it "Beautiful Things Are Seldom Easy." It's a narrative poem. It tells a story. In the wind there blows a seed, and though it's tossed and it's thrown with every gust within its heart, there knows a need, and it releases fear to trust. It's just seeking life at some point in time to rest secure in Mother Earth, and within its bosom safe and sublime lies secure the purpose of its birth. And until nature, who sets the laws and makes real that life within, allows effect to meet with cause in a place where fate does send, just a cracking stone. So cold and bare, it shares only with wind-blown soil, a just reward for lack of toil. But with purpose unfolding in the light, it gives of itself what little there is, and determined to make that purpose right, it receives its life from rain-sent kisses. Many teardrops give to the seed the basic elements of life, and with the soil, they satisfy its needs in spite of circumstance and strife. You see, beautiful things are seldom easy. The best seem to take a while. So whatever be your doubts and your fears, just be patient and face them and smile. Give of yourself whatever you can. Rest secure in your cracking stone, and with God's help, make a stand and be thankful you're no longer alone. Be content in this place that fate has chosen for you to be, for this is your space to grow and be truly free. For as you plant, so shall you reap, and the toil and the pain your life has bared is a just reward that you'll always keep. Just be still and know that you care. Live this life you have to use to serve a purpose to your fellow man. Learn to give. Never refuse to reach out with a helping hand. For it will lift you up and towards the sky, and you'll be served by a greater friend, just by living a love that can never die with that hand of help that you may lend. You see, beautiful things are seldom easy, and although your leaves may brown, if you live as best could be, once lifted, you're never down.